So as you lay here, you can place your hands on your inner thighs. You can place them on your stomach. You can raise them above your head to kind of open your chest a little bit more. And whichever you choose to do today. And as we lay here, today's class will focus on Drishti. So Drishti in Sanskrit means focus. So today we'll do a couple balancing poses and just trying to work on your focus. So as we start this class, focus on your breathing. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, equaling out the breath. And we'll take a few collective breaths together before we begin our practice. So inhaling through the nose, opening your mouth to exhale and release. One more time, inhaling through the nose, opening your mouth to exhale the breath. And that is that Ujjayi breath. So you can always come back to that throughout class. Continue to breathe here, just focusing inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, grabbing your thighs, bringing your knees together, and then hugging your knees into your chest. And from here, you could take a few rock and rolls from the side to side, forward and back, whichever feels good for you and your body. And when you're ready, rocking and rolling up into a tabletop position. So when you reach tabletop, making sure your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. So we're gonna take a few cat-cows to warm up the spine. So inhaling, looking up, lifting your gaze, dropping the belly. And on exhale, rounding the spine to an angry cat. Inhale, drop the belly, look up to our cow position. And exhale, rounding the spine, looking at your navel. Continue to take a few more of these at your own pace, linking the breath, inhaling and exhaling. And when you're ready, coming back to a neutral spine. From here, we'll come into our bird dog position. So lifting your right arm forward. You can stay here if you want a little bit more, reaching your left leg back. You can keep your left leg on the floor, keeping your toes on the floor, or if you feel comfortable, lifting it up so it's parallel to the mat. And from here, we'll take a few pulses. So inhale, lift up, down, up and down, just a few times. And continue to hold here steady. And on exhale, releasing back. And now we'll take the left arm forward, right leg back. And again, you can keep it on the floor or lift it up, parallel, whichever suits you today. And we're gonna take a few pulses here. So up and down, and then an isometric hold, keeping your gaze forward and release back down. And we'll take one more bird dog. So lifting your right arm and your left leg back. And here we'll just hold it for a few breaths. So this is focusing on Drishti, keeping your balance while you're in this pose. And exhale, releasing back down. And we'll take that on the left side. So lifting your left arm forward, right leg back, keeping it parallel. For a few breaths here. So trying to keep your gaze looking forward without crunching your neck. And exhale, release. From here, tuck your toes, coming up into your first downward facing dog of the day. So here, you can walk your dog, trying to warm up the body. You can go left to right. You can wag your tail, whichever feels good for you today. This is our first down dog of class, but it will not be our class. And this is always a position we'll meet in. And you can always come here along with child's pose throughout the course. And when you're ready, slowly walking your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat, keeping your feet hip width apart. You can grab onto each elbow, relax your head into a ragdoll position. Here you can sway side to side, feeling that nice stretch in your hamstrings. You can also take a bend in your left knee, straighten out the right leg if you want a deeper stretch, and alternate, bending the right knee and straightening out the left. From here, releasing your hands to the mat, taking your peace fingers to wrap around your big toe. We're coming into Padahastasana. So from here, you can take a bend in your knees if you like, or you can keep them straight. Just relax your head. And you can sway side to side. And release your hands and slowly roll on up. Coming where your head last to come up. Bring your feet together, opening your palms to the front of the mat. This is our mountain pose. And from here, we'll go into a modified sun A. So on an inhale, reach your arms up to the sky, palms facing inward. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back, hands on your shins. Exhale, stepping back to your high plank position. Make sure in your high plank, you are knitting your core, keeping your gaze forward. And from here, bending your knees and releasing down to the mat to a belly shavasana. From here, you can keep your hands underneath your shoulders and we'll come up into a Sphinx pose. So on an inhale, slowly peeling your body up to release into a Sphinx pose. Your fingers should be gripping on the mat still. And this pose should be held with ease. Your top of your toes should be touching the mat and your back leg should still be engaged in this pose. Continue to breathe here. And then tucking your toes, you can slowly push up, come up to tabletop or pushed up to a low plank and then coming up to a high plank and then downward dog. However you want to get there today. And walking your feet to meet your hands. On an inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, root to rise, bring your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart and center. And we'll do a full sun A. We'll go into that next. So on an inhale, palms up to the sky. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward. On an inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into your high plank. On an inhale, shift forward about an inch. And on an exhale, come down to your chaturanga. Your arms are at 90 degrees. Inhale for upward facing dog. And then exhale, coming to downward facing dog. So at any time you don't want to do that, that is our vinyasa. So if anytime that's too much for you, you can always meet in down dog. So you can skip the little chaturanga there. Bring your feet to meet your hands, walking, stepping, or jumping. On an inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold forward, releasing your head. Inhale, raising your arms up to the sky, reverse swan dive. And exhale, bring your hands to heart and center. On an inhale, bring your arms up to the sky as you go into never sun A. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, placing your hands, stepping back into your chaturanga. On an inhale, you can shift forward an inch. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Your body should start to feel warm. The Sun A salutation is meant to warm up your body along with the Sun B salutation, which we'll move into next. Walking your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat. On an inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, release your head, fold forward. Inhale, raising, reverse swan diving your arms. And exhale, bring your hands back into heart and center. From here, we'll move into a modified Sun B. So inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, hinging at the hips. Inhale, flat back, hands on your shins. Exhale, stepping back for your chaturanga or vinyasa. So if you don't want to do this, just meet in downward dog. So inhale, upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lifting your right leg to the sky. Exhale, stepping your right foot between your hands. Dropping your back knee to the mat and untucking your toes. On an inhale, lifting your arms up by your ears. And take a few breaths here in our low lunge position. Bringing the hands back to the mat, stepping back to do your vinyasa, or you can meet in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lifting your left leg to the sky. Exhale, stepping your left foot between your hands, dropping your right knee on the mat. On an inhale, lifting your arms up by your ears. Take a few breaths here. And again, making sure your gaze is forward. You've untucked your back toes. And now low lunge. Exhaling your hands back to the mat, stepping back for a Nava Vinyasa or meeting in downward facing dog. Walking your feet to meet your hands. On an inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward, releasing the head. Inhale, arms up to the sky, reverse swan diving your hands. And exhale, bring your hands to heart and center. From here, we'll move into our chair pose. So inhale, arms up, sitting back into your invisible chair. Your arms should be by your ears. From here, opening up your right arm to the back of the mat, opening your chest to the side to have airplane arms. Inhale, bring it back to center, keeping your gaze forward. Exhale your left arm to the back of the mat, opening the chest to the left side. Inhale, bring your hands back to center by your ears. Maybe you can sit back a little bit lower in your chair, making sure you can still see your toes underneath your knees. So in Sanskrit, this pose is known as Utkatasana, or chair pose. On an exhale, releasing your legs, straightening them out, folding forward. On an inhale, hands on your shins, flat back. Exhale, stepping back to chaturanga. So again, you can go through the upward facing dog, downward facing dog, or meet in downward facing dog. But trying to connect the breath. On an inhale, lifting your right leg to the sky. On an exhale, we're going to step the right foot outside of your right hand. So it should be towards the edge of the mat. Walk it a little bit forward. Drop your back knee and untuck the toes. So this is our gecko pose. So here, you can stay here on your hands and keep your hands underneath your shoulders. If you're flexible enough or you want a deeper stretch, you can come down to your forearms. If this is not comfortable, then stay where you are. And this is a great hip opener. So continue to breathe here. If you are on your forearms, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, tucking your back toes, and stepping back for a vinyasa, or you can meet us in downward facing dog. So you should be feeling warm. I hope you are. On an inhale, lifting your left leg to the sky. On an exhale, stepping your left foot outside your left hand towards the edge of the mat, dropping your back knee, and you can walk it a little bit further out on the left side if you like. So you can stay here with your hands underneath your shoulders or drop down to a deeper gecko. So you can continue to breathe here. If you came down to your forearms, slowly walking your hands underneath your shoulders. From here, we'll tuck the back toes, stepping back for another vinyasa, or you can meet in downward facing dog because there are a lot of vinyasas in this class. So bringing your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat. On an inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. On an inhale, reaching your arms up to the sky to sit back in your invisible chair again. And on an exhale, bring your hands to heart and center and release. Now we'll actually go into a full sun B. So on an inhale, sitting back into your invisible chair. From here, we'll bring your hands to heart and center. Hook your left elbow on your right leg and twist here for a twisted chair. Releasing back to your regular chair position, again, making sure you can see your toes underneath your knees. Bringing your hands back to heart and center, hooking your right elbow on your left knee and taking a twist. Coming back to center. On an exhale, releasing your legs, straightening them out, folding down. On an inhale, lift up halfway, hands on your shins. And on an exhale, stepping back for that high plank for your vinyasa, or choosing to meet in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right leg to the sky in a three-legged dog. On an exhale, place your right foot between your hands. Drop your back foot at a 45-degree angle. Reach your arms up, coming into warrior one. So your hips should be square to the front of the mat. We can cactus the arms here. So on an exhale, opening up the chest to cactus the arms. On an inhale, reach up and placing your hands back down on the mat, stepping back for another vinyasa or meeting in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lifting your left leg to the sky to three-legged dog. On an exhale, stepping your left foot between your hands, dropping your back foot. Inhaling your arms up into warrior one with the left leg forward. On an exhale, cactusing the arms, opening the chest. Take a few breaths here. On an inhale, reach up, bringing your hands back down to the mat, stepping back for another vinyasa. Walking your feet to meet your hands. On an inhale, lift up halfway, hands on your shins. exhale, fold forward. And on inhale, sitting back in the invisible chair as we close out Asana B. And then exhale, straighten the legs, hands to heart and center. From here, inhaling the arms up to the sky, palms facing inward. Exhale, folding forward, hinging at the hips. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, stepping back to chaturanga for your vinyasa, or you can meet us in downward facing dog. From here, we'll inhale, lifting the right leg to the sky. On an exhale, stepping the right foot between the hands, dropping your back leg, coming back into that warrior one position again with your right leg forward. From here, interlacing your fingers behind your back. And on an exhale, folding forward on your right knee to humble your warrior. And again, in this position, trying to lift your fingers above your spine. Just keep them up, keep them lifted, and keeping your hips forward. Releasing your fingers, straightening up. We're going to come into a pyramid pose. So you can shift your foot a little bit closer, your back foot a little bit closer, straighten out both legs, placing your hands on your hips. On an inhale, lift up, and on an exhale, fold forward, facing your front leg. From here, we're going to move into our first official balancing position, warrior free. So from here, you can take a bend in your front leg, placing your hands to heart and center, lifting off your back foot, keeping your back, you're lifting it off so your head and your foot are parallel off the mat and you're balancing on your right foot here. You can keep your toes to the ground. From here, placing your left hand on the mat to help you balance, you can open your right arm up to the sky. And this is our revolved half moon. So you can keep your right arm on your hips or you can lift up to the sky. So this is revolved half moon, which is another balancing pose, but it gives you a little bit more support than warrior free. If you're able to, challenge yourself and lift your gaze to follow your hands. On an exhale, placing your back toes on the mat, inhaling your arms up into a high crescent lunge. On an exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat, step back for another vinyasa or meeting in downward facing dog. And from here, we'll inhale, lift the left leg to the sky. On an exhale, stepping your left foot between your hands, flatten your back foot 45 degrees from the back of the mat, inhaling your arms up into warrior one on the left side. So your front leg should be bent. From here, interlacing your fingers behind your back, perhaps taking a different grip with your hands that's not comfortable, just to challenge yourself. On an inhale, lift your chest up, and exhale, fold forward to humble your warrior. So continue to breathe here and releasing your hands, lifting up. You can shift your right foot a little bit forward if you need to, placing your hands on your hips. On an exhale, fold forward as we come down into pyramid pose. You can also reach for the ground if that's available to you, whichever works. And both legs should be straight in this position. From here, we'll be coming back into that warrior free position. So at any point, if you don't feel comfortable with the balancing poses, you can stay here or come do a vinyasa and meet us in down dog. But from here, we're going to move to warrior free. So bending your front leg, lifting your back foot off the mat parallel, bring your hands to heart and center, and continue to focus here, focusing your gaze, trying to keep your balance, flexing your foot so your toes are facing the mat. Placing your right hand down on the mat, you can open up the left hand to open up the chest into revolved half moon. So here you can challenge yourself by looking at your fingers that are lifting up. A lot of times in life we lose focus, so this hopefully will help you stay focused. Bring your back toes back down to the mat. On an inhale, lifting up into a crescent lunge. Bring your arms up. And take a few breaths here. Bring your hands back down to the mat and stepping back for another vinyasa. From here, take a few breaths. If you need to, you can take a child's pose. We'll be here for a few breaths just to cool down the body, a little bit in between. And if you were in a child's pose, coming back to downward facing dog. And on an inhale, lifting your right foot to the sky to three-legged dog. On an exhale, stepping your right foot between your hands, flattening your back foot, opening up your arms into warrior two. So in warrior two, your right arm should be forward and your hand should be in a capital T position. Your front leg is bent. Your hips are open to the side of the mat. And your back foot should be about an 85-degree angle. So your warrior two is a strong position. So make sure you are a strong warrior here. On an inhale, flip the front palm. And on exhale, raise it up to the sky, placing your left hand on your upper thigh, and you can reach your arms up to reverse your warrior. And again, you can look up here, look towards your hands. On an exhale, bring your right forearm down to your right knee. Swing your left arm across to come into extended side angle. So making sure you're in one line from the tips of your fingers to your toes. On an exhale, coming back into warrior two. So making sure our arms are back in that T position. From here, we're going to straighten out the front leg. You can keep your feet as they are or step your back foot a little bit closer. Your back foot should be slightly turned out. On an inhale, we shift forward a little bit. And on exhale, tipping your right arm to your right shin, opening up the chest to the left side of the mat to come into triangle pose. And from here, we'll be moving into another balancing pose. So half moon. So earlier we did revolved half moon. From here, we'll just be coming into half moon. So bending your right leg, you can place your hands on your hips if you like, but bending your right, or bring your hands to heart and center, bending your right leg, lifting your back leg off, keeping your toes pointed to the side of the mat into half moon. And again, with your gaze here, looking forward. You might be looking down, but you can still look forward and focusing on something to maintain your balance. On an exhale, dropping the back foot, coming back into warrior two. bending that front knee. On an exhale, cartwheeling the hands down on the mat, stepping back for Vinyasa, or you can meet us in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your left leg to the sky. On an exhale, stepping your left foot between your hands, dropping your back foot here and opening up into warrior two towards the right side of the mat with your left arm forward. Again, your gaze should be towards those middle fingers and make your warrior two a strong warrior two. On an inhale, flip the left palm and raise it up to the sky. You can place your right hand on the back of your right thigh and keep your gaze with your left arm to follow those fingertips. On an exhale, bring your left forearm to your left knee. Swing your right arm across to come into extended side angle. So keeping one line from your fingertips all the way to your toes. And try not to sink into your left elbow either. If you wanted a greater challenge with this position, you can extend your left arm down to the mat, but otherwise you're fine on your elbow. On an exhale, coming back into warrior two. From here, you can keep your stance as it is, or if you have shorter legs, you can bring your right foot a little bit forward, keeping the same direction. Straighten both your legs. You can place your hands on your hips, and on an inhale, lift up, and exhale, bring your left arm to your right shin, opening up the chest, bring your right arm up to the sky. From here, we'll move into a half moon. So on balancing pose again. So bring your hands to heart and center. You can bend into your left knee, bring your right foot across off the mat, and balance. Keeping your right toes open to the side of the mat to open up your hips. And trying to focus on one point where you can maintain your balance. And when you're ready, planting your right foot down, opening back up into warrior two. On an exhale, bring your hands back down the mat, step back for another vinyasa or meeting us in downward facing dog. And here, if it works for you, you could take a child's pose. But the good news is we are cooling down, so hopefully you built up a little bit of a sweat. So on an inhale, lifting your right leg to the sky, and on an exhale, bring your right elbow or right knee to your right wrist, untucking the toes, and coming into a half pigeon pose. So here you can keep your hands underneath your shoulders, you can come down to your forearms, or you can release long, placing your head on the mat into a double pigeon. And continue to breathe here no matter where you are. And slowly bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, if you're in a sleepy pigeon, tucking the back toes, stepping back to a downward dog. And we'll take the same stretch on the right side. So inhale, left side, inhaling your left foot up to the sky. On exhale, bring your left knee to left wrist, tucking the toes and releasing down. So again, you could do the same that you did on the other side, coming down to your forearms, or coming to a sleepy pigeon, releasing your third eye to the mat, whichever you want to do today. And no matter where you are, bring your hands back under your shoulders again, tucking your back toes, stepping back into your downward facing dog to help stretch that out. And from here, coming to a seated position, and we'll take a seated twist. So you can bring your legs out in front of you, bring your right leg over your left knee, and take a twist here to the right side with your right arm back behind you, and you can hug your right knee with your left elbow. And releasing back to center, we'll take the same on the left side. So crossing your left leg over your right knee, bring your right elbow to hug it in, open your chest to the left side of the mat. And releasing your feet back in front of you, slowly rolling on back down. And from here, you can opt to take any other pose that you need before you come into Shavasana, whether that's a happy baby, grabbing the soles of your feet, or if you need like another stretch. If you're in a happy baby, you can wiggle your happy baby side to side. Just release the spine. And no matter where you are, when you're ready, coming to meet in Shavasana, bring your legs out long, opening your palms to the sky, closing your eyes, and connecting with your breath here as you cool down the body. And focusing on the breath. Again, this class is about focus and balance, so trying to come back to that as you enter your Shavasana today. So focusing just on your breath to relax the mind and settle into Shavasana. And slowly beginning to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, feeling sensation return back as you awaken the body. If you like, you can take a good morning wake up stretch, reaching your arms above your head, reaching your toes long. And when you're ready, using your right arm as a pillow, coming into a fetal position on the right side. And when you're ready, coming into a seated position, keeping your eyes closed and bringing your hands to heart and center. So thank you for sharing your practice with me today. As you look inward and see the divine within you, open your eyes and see the divine in others. Let's salute that divinity with namaste. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully that gave you some relaxed